Part 71. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 701. Chapter 701, Leniency for those who confess, but jail time. Qinwan went to find Zhang Junlin first. Zhang Junlin had just come out of a financial summit. Qinwan was already waiting. She told Zhang Junlin all the information she had investigated. Song Yin said that her mother and Song Li were childhood sweethearts. After Song Li went abroad, she fell in love with someone else, so she broke up with her mother. Her mother became pregnant with her. Song Yin was raised by her mother since she was a child, so the relationship was very deep until she was almost an adult. Song Li suddenly came back, recognized them, bought them a house, and gave them a sum of money. Song Li had a home at home and a home abroad. Song Yin was a few years older than Song Lanying, but she longed for her father in her heart. Love, Song Li loves Song Lanying and Song Yin. Song Yin likes dancing, so he hires the best dance teacher. If she likes music, he sends her to the music academy. She has always known that Song Li is more than just her daughter, but she is absent. Father's love fell from the sky for more than 10 years, and Song Yin's mother fell in love with Song Li deeply. The family of 3 lived happily like this for several years, until her mother had an accident. After her mother's accident, Song Li often visited Song Yin. Song Yin raised Song Jinghe by herself. Song Li gave her a lot of money. She once wanted to go abroad to live with Song Li, but Song Li did not allow it and asked her to take Song Jinghe with her. In China, we are still on the same page as Song Lanying. Song Lejin was based abroad, so he only came back a few times a year, and he loved Song Jinghe very much. Song Yin slowly got over the pain of losing her mother, and her life returned to peace. Qinwan asked, "Have you told Song Li, who is Jinghe's father?" "No. This is the story Song Yin told." Qinwan said, "Master, I don't think she told the truth." "You don't believe her?" Qinwan nodded, "My intuition tells me that this is a story, not the truth." Zhang Junlin looked out the window expressionlessly while Zhang Qiang drove, not daring to take a breath. "Do you suspect that Song Li had planned everything a long time ago?" "Yes," Qinwan said, "this suspicion is a bit biased. After all, Jinghe is my eldest brother's child, so I came up with a conspiracy theory. Rong Li went to find Jinghe and wanted to drag him into Black Hawk. It was definitely a lie. If I were Black Eagle, there would be no way I would let Jinghe in. Zhang Junlin also thinks it makes sense." "Master, please talk to Ji Sun," Qinwan said calmly. "I will talk to my family after you have talked about it." New Global Center. Rong Li went to Ji Xian and said, "I went to find Song Jinghe and met Qinwan. Song Yin wants to send Song Jinghe back to the Chen family. I'm afraid I can't hide this matter. You can handle it yourself." Ji Sun was shocked. "How dare she do that? Why don't you dare? Let your children recognize their ancestors." "It's a matter of course," Rong Li said angrily that Song Jinghe was really Chen Yang's son. "Do you think Qinwan saw something? Do you think she's stupid?" Ji Sun frowned. "I really have 10 mouths and I can't explain it clearly. It's not that innocent either." Ji Sun. As soon as Rong Li finished speaking, Zhang Junlin's call came. Ji Sun's scalp felt numb. He turned over the phone screen, stared at his brother on the screen and asked Rong Li, "What should I do?" "It's none of my business, isn't it all your fault?" Rong Li said calmly, "You can solve it yourself." Ji Huan took a deep breath and answered the phone, "Brother, is the summit over?" "Well," Zhang Junlin got straight to the point, "come out for a cup of tea and I'll ask you something." "Okay." Ji Sun looked at Rong Li, "Do you think you can still quibble?" Rong Li smiled and said, "If you confess, you will be treated leniently, and you will be jailed." Ji Sun. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 702. Chapter 702. Brother, I was wrong. When Ji Huan arrived at the tea house, Zhang Junlin was already waiting. He brewed a pot of taiguanyan and put a few dishes of the shop's special snacks on the table. Zhang Qiang and others stood 2 meters away, with their backs to Zhang Junlin. Ji Sun feels like a hangman banquet. Come here for tea, Zhang Junlin said calmly, pouring him a cup of tea. Ji Sun came over with a smile, asking for a sweet kiss first, but still not satisfied. Brother, what are you going to do outside? The appointment is at home. Zhang Junlin looked at him with a half smile. Are you sure? Ji Sun suddenly wasn't so sure, so he had to sit down obediently. He had been so proud recently that he almost forgot about this hidden risk. Zhang Junlin said, Song Yin's father is Song Li, and Rong Li went to find Song Jinghe again. Do you know? It's a long story. Ji Sun sighed quietly. Then let's make a long story. I am patient and have made tea for you. Ji Sun. Ji Xian extended his head and slashed his head, knowing that he could not escape. He looked into Zhang Junlin's calm eyes, considered for a moment, and said softly, Song Li expressed his loyalty to me many years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago. He made a big splash at the Asian Financial Summit and offended the largest hedge fund giant at the time. You flew over to reprimand him in front of everyone, regardless of his face. This matter made him angry. He was the only one in Europe at that time, and you rarely asked about financial matters, so Song Li took care of him. Who would have thought that he would be reprimanded so mercilessly by you, and then he would ask me to surrender? Our relationship at that time was a bit delicate. Zhang Junlin looked at him with a smile, and Ji Xian quickly changed his mind. Of course, I despise Song Li, but he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. Song Jinghe is the eldest grandson of the Chen family. I was afraid that he would lie, so I went out of his way I went for an appraisal and confirmed Song Jinghe's identity. Song Li and Song Yin have always had a very good relationship. He loves Song Yin more than Song Lanying because Song Jinghe is a trump card. At that time, I accepted the olive branch he offered and planned to cooperate with him. Song Li also revealed some inside information about Ji Dao and then, the report. Ji Sun asked anxiously, Brother, I'm so old, you won't hit me, right? Continue. Zhang Junlin smiled very reservedly. Ji Sun could only say, I was the one who planned the report at the beginning. I admit that the result was definitely not like this. Song Li wanted to avenge his personal revenge and changed my plan, so both sides were harmed. At that time, my relationship with you Song Li felt that the cooperation was going to be invalidated and wanted to take advantage of me. I really didn't dare to tell you about this. Zhang Junlin's face darkened and he tapped his fingers on the table, which was already a sign of anger. What's your plan? This isn't important anymore, is it? Zhang Junlin took a deep breath. Continue. Ji Sun had no choice but to bite the bullet and continue. I set up the situation regarding Song Li's corruption and wanted you to clean up the house. Song Li and I have cooperated many times in the past few years, and indeed he has found some reasons. I'm afraid you know you are unhappy, and you know that Song Li is not suitable to stay in the Ji Dao, otherwise it will cause a big disaster one day. At that time, his appetite is getting bigger and bigger, so I simply set up a trap to let him embezzle, and you put him swept out. Only Third Master and Rong Li knew about this. Song Li was also kept in the dark. After he was dismissed by Ji Dao, he wanted to come to Black Hawk. I rejected him in the name of Third Master, and then helped him make arrangements. I got a job in securities, but who knew that he had a big appetite, and after asking for connections, he betrayed the inside information of the Yakuza. I swear, this matter has nothing to do with me at all, and it was not my instigation. Although it sounds like sophistry, but brother, believe me. I just asked Song Li, who has been in the Ji Dao for so many years, How could he be corrupt? Although the money he embezzled was a huge sum of money, he would not end his career just for a sum of money. It turned out to be you, a troublemaker. Brother, this is such an unpleasant thing to say. I am helping you clean up your family, Ji Xian claimed credit confidently. Zhang Junlin sneered, do I still want to thank you? That's unnecessary, the family doesn't say thank you. Zhang Junlin. Ji Sun lowered his head obediently, his long eyelashes trembling slightly. Brother, I was wrong, I'm sorry, I never dare to do it again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 703. Chapter 703. I don't even believe in myself. Don't dare again? Zhang Junlin sneered, there is nothing in the world that Ji Sun dare not do, and challenging his bottom line is what Ji Sun enjoys most. I will let go of what happened in those 5 years. Zhang Junlin was not a person who liked to dwell on the past. Let's talk about recent events. Why did Rong Li kill Song Lanying? Ji Sun opened his mouth to explain, but Zhang Junlin said softly, Xiao Sun, I hope you can be honest with your brother and don't lie. Ji Sun's heart was suffocated. He took a deep breath to suppress the panic in his heart. This move was too powerful. His brother had always been dictatorial and rarely lowered his voice. To speak so softly was so killing him. Who could withstand this? When I was cooperating with Song Li, I negotiated a 5-year plan with him in order to win his trust. Song Li also did many things in my name. Some things were not planned by me, and he also blamed them on me. I don't want to take the blame. After Song Li died, Song Lanying came to me, hoping that I could help her get revenge. She wanted to kill you and Ziyu. She knew about my relationship with you. If I didn't help her, she would expose those things. When I was standing in front of you, I had murderous intentions at that time. After I rejected her, Song Lanying threatened me several times. At that time, I felt that she could not succeed, so I didn't take it seriously. She had such a handle, so she wouldn't. We both lost. Who knew she could take the wrong approach and target Ziyu? It was my fault. Wrongly killed her because I didn't want to cause trouble, and I didn't want you to know what I did in those 5 years. Xian lowered his head and his voice was very soft. Knowing that he was pretending to be pitiful, Zhang Junlin couldn't help but feel soft. In fact, he had more or less guessed it, so he didn't let Qinwan investigate thoroughly. He pretended that Rong Li killed Song Lanying had never happened. In the last year, the relationship between Black Hawk and the Yakuza was very delicate, and killing each other was a normal occurrence. He also used the chess pieces he buried in Black Hawk, so he let it go. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be as he expected, and he gave it to Ji Xian. Ji Sun had the opportunity to confess, but he chose to hide it. Song Li's death was also your intention. Ji Sun rolled his eyes and nodded. Zhang Junlin guessed that Song Li knew so many secrets of Ji Sun. Ji Sun was afraid that Song Li would expose him and even splashed him with dirty water. When the time came, Ji Sun couldn't argue and jumped into the Yellow River. If he couldn't clean it up, he simply let him disappear. The method was very clever and there was no trace. At that time, he thought that Song Li was the one who was caught committing the crime. Song Li was greedy and swallowed the elephant. He asked for it. Xiao Sun, Song Li's crime will not lead to death, Zhang Junlin said coldly. You are afraid that he will throw dirty water on you and that I will doubt you, so you don't want to take any risks, so you might as well strike first. Song Lanying is the same reason. You are sure that there will be a gap between me, why can't you be sure that I can trust you? Ji Huan couldn't believe it. He had carefully maintained the situation for many years. He didn't want to take any risks with the person he got, and he didn't want to see him as a scheming person in Zhang Junlin's eyes. He was afraid that Song Li would put many charges on him that he could not explain, which would affect his relationship with Zhang Junlin. "Am I not worthy of your trust?" Zhang Junlin asked disappointedly. Ji Xian suddenly smiled and raised his eyes, revealing two cute little pear dimples, but his smile was so weird. "Brother, I am a person who crawled out of the gutter. If you look for the murderer in a group of people, everyone will point at you. Me, how can I bet that someone believes that I am as white as snowflakes?" Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 704. Chapter 704. The child is very good looking. Lu Ziwen and Rong Li discovered that Ji Sun had been particularly interested in Gu Si's wedding dress recently. Originally, the design and pattern were all decided and handed over to the craftsman. Recently, he can supervise the work and start the work. He stays in Longfeng Tower all day long. Unless there is something particularly urgent for Black Eagle, it is difficult to call him out. The Chinese New Year is coming soon. Lunar New Year's Eve has always been the biggest reunion day. Every household has begun to prepare for the new year. Gu Si is more miserable. He can spend New Year's Eve at home. On the first day of the new year, I have to go back to the hospital again, and I can't live without people for a moment. Fortunately, her term ended in just 2 months, and Lu Ziwen could bear it. Because Lu Ziwen and Gu Si were preparing for their wedding, although they were not engaged, the elders of both parties had a tacit understanding that they would celebrate New Year's Eve together this year. Gu Zia was the happiest. He had been separated from his parents on New Year's Eve in the past few years and rarely spent it together. On New Year's Eve, it was natural to be happy to spend New Year's Eve together. Lu Zi didn't care about etiquette, so he chose to spend New Year's Eve at Jiang's house. Black Hawk, Ji Dao, and Hualan Bank were all busy at the end of the year, with various accounting, annual summaries, and report meetings coming one after another, so the quarrel between Zhang Junlin and Ji Sun did not attract too many people's attention. The elders of the Zhang family think that young people are too busy at the end of the year, so they don't go home much. Qin Wan also had a headache. Telling the truth about Song Yin's identity would definitely cause a big shock. She couldn't lie to her family. She asked Zhang Junlin what to say, and Zhang Junlin said, "Tell the truth." "Do you also want to talk about what Ji Sun did?" "It's okay," Zhang Junlin said calmly, "I'll carry it." It was one thing for him to quarrel with Ji Sun, but he would not allow Ji Sun to be bullied externally. After Qin Wan got the right word, he also told Chen Lianzhu and Chen Liangdong everything about Song Yin. The relationship between Chen Yang and Song Yin was indeed not a conspiracy at the beginning. At most, Chen Yang got interested. Chen Yang had no shortage of female companions around him. He loved college students and fell in love with the young and beautiful Song Yin. Song Yin was not deeply involved in the world. And he has always had no father's love, and he has no way to resist Chen Yang's particularly strong methods of pursuing people, but who knew he would meet a scumbag. But after Song Li knew Song Jinghe's identity, everything changed. "Uncle, this is what happened." Qin Wan also felt a bit ridiculous. "It depends on what you think. Song Lining is the woman who killed you this time. Are they biological sisters?" Chen Lianzhu frowned. "What an injustice, Chen Yang, it's all your fault." Chen Yang was scolded and did not dare to talk nonsense, so he became arrogant externally. Internally, he did not dare to talk back to Chen Liangdong or Chen Lianzhu. "What's the use of teaching him a lesson now?" Mrs. Chen said. "Little Cherry, how are their sisters' relationship?" "I don't know. Song Li and Song Yin have a good relationship as father and daughter. The Chinese New Year is coming soon, so invite them to come to your door," Chen Liangdong said. "I don't know if the children have been instilled with the idea of hatred. If they are instilled with the idea of revenge, they have to break it back in time." If they are not instilled, then forget it. Song Yin is smart. But she inexplicably asked Jing He to recognize her as a relative. I always felt that she was not innocent. Dr. North stood in the extreme position and actually didn't want Song Yin to enter the Chen family. Invite the mother and son to visit us and have a chat. Chen Lianzhu made the final decision and looked at Chen Yang. You'd better behave like a father and don't let the child notice that you don't like him, do you hear me? Chen Yang. This is really a bit difficult for him. It's so difficult. He doesn't dislike the child either, but he doesn't like it, but it's hard to say. The child came very suddenly and disrupted many of his plans, so he can't like it, but he doesn't dislike it either. The Chen family are all action people, and Song Yin received a call in the afternoon. Song Yin squatted down and held Song Jinghe's shoulders with both hands. Jinghe, remember, you must please them. They are your father, grandfather, and grandmother. Only by following them can you have a future. Song Jinghe is a very smart child, and he also knows that Song Yin is sending him to the Chen family. He does not understand the grudges between his parents, but he can feel that his mother has no feelings for his father, and he has never met his father's family. Song Yin said, Mom and Dad fell in love and broke up before she found out she was pregnant. She wanted Jinghe, so when she gave birth to Jinghe, Dad didn't know you existed, so, don't blame him. After Dad's family found out, I want to recognize you right away, so you have to find a way to stay there. Where's Mom? Song Jinghe asked calmly. You don't have to worry about Mom, she has her own plans. Isn't Mom with me? Song Jinghe's eyes were calm. Then where are you going? Don't you want me? No, Song Yin is self-aware. Mom's status is not worthy of Dad, they will not accept Mom, but Jinghe is different. Mom will look at you from a distance, it's not like she can't see you anymore, you have to be good. Why did you send me away? Song Jinghe was confused. Are there any difficulties in our life? What are you afraid of? Jinghe can't protect you, so Dad's family is powerful and can't protect you either. Song Yin didn't know how to talk about those complicated grievances with Song Jinghe. Jinghe, Mom is simply tired. She wants to go abroad for further study. It's really a burden to take you with her. Song Jinghe's eyes were red. This child had been serious and thoughtful since he was a child. Even when he was 3 or 4 years old, he wouldn't cry even if he fought with his kindergarten classmates. Song Yin felt sad and could only be cruel. Mom used to love dancing, but then something happened. I can no longer dance, and now I am a music teacher. I am always unwilling to go to further studies. Because of Jinghe, my mother has delayed it for many years. I don't want to waste my afternoon anymore. Can you please help my mother? Okay, Song Jinghe turned around and closed the door. Song Yin covered her lips, not daring to cry. Jinghe, I'm sorry. The next day, Qin Wan came to pick up Song Yin and Song Jinghe. Song Yin wore a lake blue dress and a coat of the same color, dressed very softly. Song Jinghe was wrapped in a white down jacket and had pink makeup. Yuzhuo was very beautiful, with a look as cold as winter. It was rare to see such an indifferent expression on a child. Qin Wan was very talkative. He asked Song Jinghe what he liked, what books he was reading recently, whether the preparatory class for teenagers was fun, and his classmates. Do they get along well? Song Jinghe was told by Song Yin to answer all questions, so he could only answer questions. He would not be as lively and talkative as other children. Song Yin and Qin Wan didn't have much to talk about. The basic topic centered on their children. Chen Yang was beaten and raised for a few days, but he was able to get out of bed. He took care of Song Yin's mother and son outside. He had a very shallow impression of Song Yin. Now that he saw her again, he remembered her. He had indeed met Song Yin many years ago, and he was amazed at his first sight. At that time, he liked gentle and intellectual beauties very much. He had a good impression of Song Yin and pursued her passionately for 3 months. Song Yin, who was not experienced in the world, agreed to his pursuit. Chen Yang has never been patient with women. After he got her, he was gentle and considerate for a while, but later he felt that Song Yin had a dull temperament and was quite boring after being together for a long time. He gradually lost his enthusiasm and soon fell into another relationship. When Song Yin saw Chen Yang, she didn't have any thoughts. The excitement she felt back then had already disappeared when Chen Yang said, "I think you are too dull and we are not suitable when we broke up. I still like interesting women." She has long been calm. Because of this, in a word, Song Yin has not been in love for so many years, and she always has low self-esteem in her heart, feeling that she is old-fashioned and boring and no one likes her. "Long time no see," Chen Yang greeted dryly. Song Yin also greeted politely. She held Song Jinghe's hand. No matter how calm Song Jinghe was, he looked at Chen Yang curiously. His biological father, Chen Yang, was in his 30s and still very young. All the Chen family members had good looks. Well, he has a more feminine appearance and maintains a good figure. Although he does not have 8-pack abs, he is still fat and thin, handsome, and very gentlemanly. That's why women in those days followed him one after another. Qinhuan felt awkward looking at them, typically not familiar with them. Song Jinghe pursed his lips, not wanting to call anyone, so Chen Yang complimented dryly, "The child is very good looking." End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 705. Chapter 705. Have you become stupid because of the quarrel? Chen Lianzhu and his wife were very kind to Song Yin and Song Jinghe. Song Jinghe did not call him daddy, but there was no pressure at all when he called him grandpa and grandma. The children were smart, polite, and well educated. They would not wander around when entering the Chen family, and did not ask questions curiously, but was very calm. Chen Lianzhu liked her very much, and he also had a good impression of Song Yin. Song Yin contributed a lot to the fact that his grandson was brought up so well. He knew all about his son's virtues, so naturally he would not be partial to Chen Yang. Moreover, he only had grandson in his eyes now, and his son was nothing more than a piece of grass. After drinking tea, Qinhuan took Song Jinghe to go shopping. Chen Yang was a lover of technological products. There was a room in the East Wing dedicated to his collection. Song Jinghe was particularly interested. Qinhuan also saw it in the eyes of the child. It is a child's joy. He will take the initiative to ask Qinhuan about the origin of the collection and ask if he can touch it. In the hall, in order to avoid giving Song Yin too much pressure, Chen Liangdong and his wife did not come, and Chen Yang also made excuses to avoid it. Chen Lianzhu and his wife liked Song Yin very much because of their grandson, and sincerely felt that, regardless of their family background, Chen Yang paired with Song Yin, Chun was so good at it. With Song Yin's education and appearance, if she was a good match, she would definitely look down on Chen Yang. Qinhuan said that you had a good relationship with Song Li and his daughter, so do you know how he died? Chen Lianzhu got straight to the point. I know, he made a mistake and deserved it, Song Yin said softly, but he is my father. No matter what kind of evil person he is a good father to me. Chen Lianzhu nodded. Then do you want revenge? Revenge? Song Yin looked up at Chen Lianzhu. What ability do I have to take revenge? But we have the ability. Do you want to take revenge on Jinghe when you send him back? Mrs. Chen rarely softened her voice. Song Laining, your sister, once wanted to kill Qinhuan and almost killed Qinhuan. She almost dragged her to death for revenge. Do you know this? Song Yin was surprised, confused, and shook her head. I don't know. Then when you send Jinghe to the Chen family, you simply want him to recognize his ancestor and return to the clan. There are no other conditions. Song Yin shook her head. There are no conditions. Don't worry. After Jinghee gets familiar with the environment, I will go abroad and reduce the number of meetings. I won't cause you any trouble. Miss Song misunderstood. Chen Lianju said personally, we are not a feudal family. We leave the mother to the son. You have raised Jinghee so well. Without your consent, we will not take him away by force, nor will we. People will force you to separate. If you want to see each other, you can do it at any time. There is no need to avoid it. Song Yin had already prepared for the worst. After hearing Chen Lianju's words, her eyes turned red. Are you really not going to force us to separate? I can see him at any time if I want to. Of course, Mrs. Chen and Chen Lianju agreed. Song Yin, if you sincerely let your children recognize their ancestors and have never instigated revenge, we will not force you to separate mother and son. Instead, I would like to thank you. Raised Jinghee so well. If you and Chen Yang can rekindle their relationship and give Jinghee a complete home, that would be great. Otherwise, just treat Jinghee as a divorced couple and you can still take Jinghee to live with him on weekends. The premise is that you are telling the truth. Song Yin lowered her head and bit her lip, seemingly hesitant. Both Chen Lianju and his wife could tell that she didn't tell the whole truth, but it didn't matter. Song Yin didn't look like she was instigating the child to take revenge. As long as the child has no hatred in his heart, everything will be easy. How is your grandpa treating you? Qin Wan suddenly asked. Song Jinghee shook his head. I rarely see my grandpa. Every time he comes to the house, he only stays for a day or two and talks to my mother. He rarely takes the initiative to care about me. Your grandpa is dead, do you know? No. What did your mother say? Song Jinghee shook his head. My mother didn't say anything, but she was very sad during that time. She kept crying while holding a photo of my grandpa. She said that my grandpa went to a very far away place, and I understood. Are you sad? Are you okay? Song Jinghee raised his head and asked, what should I call you? Aunt. Is your family very powerful? Song Jinghee's concept of being powerful is still a bit vague. It's okay, why do you ask? Mom has been very uneasy this time. She seems to be afraid of something. She suddenly wants to send me away. Maybe she is afraid of something. I don't know, Song Jinghee said. Can you help her? Your mother is not willing to tell the truth, so we can't help her, baby. Global Center. Wrongly rubbed his eyebrows with a headache and listened to the report from the information center. Song Yin took Song Jinghee to the Chen family. It seemed that Song Jinghee was going to recognize his ancestor and return to the clan. Ji Xian huddled in the imperial concubine chair, propped up his chin, a little lazy, a little bit bad, naive. The Chen family recognizes Song Jinghee and will also protect Song Yin under their wings. This is an indisputable fact. Wrongly said, this move is really brilliant. What should we do now? Ji Sun's face was expressionless. He and Zhang Junlin had been arguing for 2 days, and no one paid attention to the other. A few years ago, it was normal for them to quarrel. Whenever they quarreled, it would be a cold war, and then they would tacitly agree to give each other a step to get down. Just follow the steps. This time is different. Ji Sun can sense that Zhang Junlin is really angry and cannot be coaxed. This realization made him very unhappy. If Song Yin had not taken Song Jinghee to the Chen family, he and Zhang Junlin would not have quarreled. Those things would have been buried in the snow forever, and no one would know about them. His brother had taken them lightly. He is unhappy and wants to make everyone unhappy. Teach her a lesson, Ji Xian said lightly. I play chess and I don't like to receive moves, but I like to make moves. Come on, if there is really a big fuss, will Zhang Junlin still care about you? One sentence choked Ji Xian's murderous intention. How can we get Song Yin to hand over that thing? Rong Li was also very distressed. Song Li is already dead, yet he still has to protect Song Li, and his son's lives are still messed up. That's not easy. Find out the cause of her mother's death and the reason why she fell off the stage, and everything will be solved. Lu Ziwen entered Universal. He had just gone racing downstairs, holding a helmet in one hand, and his whole body was covered in sweat. The cause of her mother's death. I took a look at Song Yin's file yesterday. She fell off the stage during a performance. Her legs were disabled and she could no longer dance. Her mother also fell off the stage and died. Isn't this a coincidence? Lu Ziwen said. With Song Laniying's temperament, if she knew that her father was having an affair and had a daughter, how could she swallow her breath and do nothing? Ji Sun's eyes lit up. You said Song Laniying did it, but she died without any evidence. Song Yin doesn't believe us now. What if she thinks we lied? Did you become so stupid because of your quarrel with Zhang Junlin? Have you been asked to investigate? Guide Qin Wan to investigate. Lu Ziwen looked at Rong Li. Go and do it. Rong Li. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 706. Chapter 706. We are destined. After Chen Lianzhu and his wife had a meal with Song Yin, Song Jinghe was very satisfied with Song Yin, and then gave Chen Yang an instruction, send them back, and then cultivate a relationship with Song Yin. It is best to impress Song Yin. Let Jinghe have a complete home. Chen Yang. This ex-girlfriend who had been with her for 9 years, and when they broke up, he seemed to have said something very outrageous, which required him to pursue someone again, which was too embarrassing. Dad, Mom, don't you have a crush on the girl from the old Qin family? Has anyone taken a fancy to you? Chen Lianzhu yelled. Song Yinpei, you have been wronged. For the sake of Jinghe, you have to overcome the difficulties. I want a perfect ending. You can decide it yourself. Qin Wan mourned in silence. Brother, please wish yourself well. Song Yin didn't look like he would change his mind. Therefore, Qin Wan was spared the fate of being a driver. It happened that Rong Li asked her to talk about something. She knew that they were talking about Song Jinghe and Song Yin, so she agreed. Chen Yang saw Song Yin off, and Song Jinghe returned home. In the car, the 3 members of the family were not familiar with each other, and they were all silent. Song Jinghe and Song Yin were both taciturn people. Chen Yang felt that he was so embarrassed that he had to dig out 3 rooms and 1 living room. Say something, please. Chen Yang had an idea, took his phone over and replied a message, then turned off the navigation and said distressedly, there is something wrong with my navigation display. Do you know the way home? Song Yin took a look at the road conditions and said, go all the way to Mingzhou Road on the elevated highway and turn left. Okay. He played some light music. No matter how mature and steady Song Jinghe was, he was still a child. He looked at Chen Yang from time to time. His father seemed to be quite nervous. Chen Yang was a little nervous. After all, he was the one who ruined Song Yin back then. Now Song Yin has Song Jinghe, the trump card, and Song Yin don't look as love-minded as they did back then. How to pursue it? Jinghe, what do you like to do in your free time? Walk. What about taking a walk? Song Jinghe thought for a while. Chen Yang thought to himself, isn't this what his father asked of him when he was a child? He didn't do it. He flirted with cats and dogs and didn't like reading. His son did it all. No wonder his father liked it so much. The dessert shop in front is very good. Do you want to eat? Song Jinghe pursed his lips and remained silent for a moment. Okay. Song Yin glanced at her son, but Song Jinghe thought to himself, this cheap father is not very careful. He doesn't put sweet vegetables on the table, and he doesn't like sweet and sour pork ribs. Grandpa can tell at a glance, and he even makes it sour and spicy. The dishes are pushed in front of him. He doesn't like snacks after meals, nor does he like to drink drinks, let alone desserts. Songyin actually likes desserts, and she often goes to the dessert shop in front of her. Chen Yang breathed a sigh of relief. He finally had something to do. If he went home in silence all the way and didn't even get Songyin's WeChat message, how could there be any follow-up? Buy desserts first, then chat for a while, ask for WeChat to complete the first step. Rong Li and Qinwan made an appointment at the Global Library. The main reason was that after the agreement, Qinwan could prepare the paper in the library. Rong Li did not need to run out of the library. When she came, Rong Li ordered coffee for her. We also had a separate seat by the window with a great view. You are so desperate that you even made an appointment with me, Qinwan scoffed, pulling out a chair and sitting down. He had a separate seat without fear of disturbing others. My uncle likes Song Jinghe very much. No matter what you want from Song Yin, it's best not to be too extreme, otherwise you'll be working against him. Do you really care about Song Jinghe so much? Of course our children are rare, and you are also quite rare, Qinwan pointed out. I still want to win over Black Eagle, but it's a pity that it's too late. Rong Li heard her sarcasm and said calmly, I shouldn't have gone to school that day. You caught me and made me suspicious. Qinwan gave him a wink and said, we are destined to meet each other. It's God's will. Rong Li asked with a half smile, really? It's fate. Qinwan's heart was ringing with alarms. When Rong Li smiled like this, it usually meant nothing good. Okay, stop being such a talker, what do you want from me? Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 707. Chapter 707 Investigate the case together. Since Qinwan was very smart, Rong Li would not mince his words. He directly named his purpose and asked Qinwan to find out the truth about the death of Song Yin's mother. Qinwan almost understood the truth at one point. Did Song Lanying do it? Not quite sure, but pretty close to 10. Since you are suspicious, why don't you investigate? Qinwan tilted his head and looked at him with a half smile. I know, you have fallen into Song Li's hands. You suspected that Song Li left it to Song Lanying, so you destroyed it after Song Lanying, who knew that Song Li also had a daughter, whose son happened to be the eldest grandson of the Chen family. You couldn't do anything, and you couldn't just sit back and ignore her. You could only make Song Yin disappointed with Song Li and take the initiative to confess. Come to investigate, I'm afraid Song Yin won't believe you, so you'll use our family's help to investigate, right? Tell me what the conditions are. Why do we get involved in the Black Eagle thing, and what does it have to do with me? Qinwan was unmoved, not wanting to get entangled in their grudges at all. Rong Li said, it's not that there are no benefits at all. Song Yin and Song Li had a deep love as father and daughter. The cause of Song Li's death was complicated. If Song Yin really wanted to take revenge, if she doesn't instigate Song Jinghe now, it's hard to guarantee that Song Jinghe will be able to stand firm in the future, not in the future. If Song Jinghe grows up in the future and Song Yin really instigates Song Jinghe to take revenge, the Chen family will have to face Zhang Junlin, Ji Sun, and the entire Black Eagle, Wang family, and Chen family. If they really get involved, they will be separated even if they die. Pi, the second generation of the Chen family is not as prosperous as the Wang family. The rise and fall of a family is something that everyone values. Qinwan doesn't attach much importance to it, but she must consider Chen Liangdong. Chen Liangdong actually also attaches great importance to the rise and fall of the family, so he and Chen Lianju have chosen different paths. Although they are separated from each other, they will always ensure that there is one person who can support the Chen family. Qinwan clearly knew that Rong Li had dug a hole, but there was a high probability that he would jump in. After clarifying the matter, Song Yin and Song Li separated emotionally, which could ensure that Jing He would not be instigated by others in the future. Chen Liangzhu and Chen Liangdong also had this regarding concerns. It is necessary to investigate clearly. What excuse did Song Li have to get you to be so hostile? Let me guess, it's Ji Suan's, right? Rong Li said calmly, you don't need to know, this matter has nothing to do with you, and it will not affect the extreme. Then you can just give me the results of your investigation. Why bother asking me to make a trip? Will you believe it if I give you a result from my investigation? You will still go and investigate. In that case, why should I bother to make another trip? Rong Li calmly said, this matter is over and the life-saving grace is wiped off. Qin Wan. Bitch. I still feel that I have suffered a loss. If it wasn't a big deal, why would you take action? Why don't we investigate it together? I can't just spend all the effort on my own. You must know this case better than me. Qin Wan deliberately made things difficult for Rong Li. She knew that Rong Li's time was more valuable than the most famous lawyer. She expected Rong Li to bargain, but she didn't expect Rong Li to agree. Okay, let's go. Qin Wan was startled. Check now. It's better to choose a day than to hit it. Qin Wan took a deep breath, and had to get up and go to the police station with Rong Li to check the files. Qin Wan drove here, and the two of them walked together, and Rong Li intuitively sat in Qin Wan's passenger seat. Qin Wan drove a black Mercedes-Benz G65, which was extremely cool and handsome. A girl driving this car is especially handsome. She was holding the steering wheel, holding a cigarette in her mouth, lighting the lighter, and the car was filled with smoke. She opened a window on one side, put one hand on the window, and smoked unscrupulously. Smoking in a sealed space was definitely a kind of torture. Rong Li said, did you do it on purpose? You are such a heavy smoker, can't you get used to the smell of cigarette smoke? Are you so pretentious? Smoking while driving violates the road safety law. Which law clearly stipulates this? Qin Wan argued, it's best for drivers not to go out. It's all in the way of safety. What's wrong with me smoking a cigarette to refresh myself? Those who smoke out the accident was due to their poor skills and had nothing to do with smoking. Rong Li pointed at the camera, here, take a bite at the camera. Qin Wan actually asked the camera, how is it? Awesome. Qin Wan clicked his tongue, 200 yuan at most, what's the big deal? The wind blew from the other side of the window. Rong Li opened the window for ventilation. Qin Wan went his own way and puffed out mist, have you quit smoking? No. These cigarettes are very fragrant, can I buy you one? Okay. Qin Wan, I'm just being polite and trying to break our awkward atmosphere. Are you really embarrassed to accept it? Why don't you accept free gifts? Who told you it was free? Why don't you accept gifts and not return gifts? Are you going to argue with me all the way to the police station? Qin Wan didn't know why, but he and Rong Li had a different aura and wanted to start a fight. Fortunately, the police station was close and they arrived quickly. This was an old case that needed to be checked. Rong Li asked Qin Wan to check it. Because of her convenient identity, it was inconvenient for Black Eagle to check these files. After Qin Wan showed his ID, a staff member took them to the archives room. It had been 8 years since Song Yin's mother passed away. The archives had files classified by year. There was a lot of information. There were quite a lot of cases this year. After searching for half an hour, the two finally found Song Yin's mother's files. Song Yin's mother was a dancer. She fell off the stage and died during a performance. At that time, there was no problem with the stage equipment. She jumped to the edge of the stage and lost her footing due to a dangerous move. She fell directly off the stage. Her death was ruled an accidental death. The surveillance footage of the stage performance was also recorded. In the future, the police investigated the stage equipment, and forensic doctors and forensic evidence examined the scene immediately, and there was nothing suspicious about it. The autopsy report of Song Yin's mother showed that she had a sudden myocardial infarction and everything was normal. The forensic doctor's surname was Zhang and he was still working in the forensic department. There were no problems with the surveillance and the autopsy. The forensic evidence was collected at the scene and there was no possibility of homicide. In the end it was ruled an accidental death. Wrongly pulled up a piece of Song Lanying's entry information. Song Lanying had entry records 10 days before Song Yin's mother died and 1 week before Song Yin fell off the stage. What a coincidence. Song Yin's mother was a dancer, and there were records every year. Physical examination showed no heart problems. Qin Wan looked at Song Lanying's entry information and found it to be suspicious. No one found out about the relationship between Song Yin's mother and Song Lanying when the accident happened. Song Lanying had an extreme personality and a strong motive for committing the crime, so the suspicion was too great. It's a pity that there is no evidence to prove it. Qin Wan regretted it, but did not give up. She read the file carefully. The photos from the forensic evidence collection were also there. There was no possibility that the surveillance footage had been modified or deleted. It was a coherent picture. After the two copied the information, they watched the video carefully in the cafe outside. Qin Wan watched it 6 times and suddenly asked wrongly, "Look, is this Song Lanying?" End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 708. Chapter 708. Do you have a crush on Ji Suan? There are 2 perspectives in the surveillance footage. One perspective is purely from the stage, and the other is from the auditorium. The direction of the investigation back then was on the stage, and everyone's focus was on what happened to the victim. They were all frame by frame. After analysis, Song Lanying's mother fell suddenly due to discomfort and her head fell. She died on the spot. There was no sign of homicide and no trace of trauma on her body. There was an uproar in the audience. Many audience members stood up and exclaimed. They were in chaos. Qin Wanhui noticed the audience because she had been in contact with Song Lanying. Song Lanying hated Song Yin's mother for destroying her family and also hated Song Yin's sister. So she will definitely enjoy the whole process of Song Yin's mother's death at the scene. At the moment of the accident, Song Lanying sat quietly in the audience. After 3 minutes, she left the audience calmly, not caring about everything that happened at the scene. At that time, many spectators rushed to the door, and no one paid attention to the auditorium, so no one noticed Song Lanying. Qin Wan and Rong Li both paid attention to Song Lanying, so they naturally did not miss her scenes. Song Lanying's appearance at the scene strengthened Rong Li and Qin Wan's guess that this case must be related to her, but does Song Li know about it? 1 day later, Song Li entered the country. Did he know? As long as they can prove that Song Li knew this fact and protected Song Lanying, Song Yin's respect and love for Song Li will be gone. What's more, Song Lanying may cause her to no longer be a dancer, and the grudge will be deep. With this surveillance footage, Qin Wan did not believe that there was nothing wrong with Song Yin's mother's autopsy report. She reported it to Chen Liangdong and asked the forensic doctor to investigate. The forensic doctor at that time was already the director of the forensic department. After receiving Chen Liangdong's permission, the case was officially opened for investigation. Rong Li did not refuse and accompanied Qin Wan to investigate. The main direction of his investigation was Song Li's movements during that period. After Song Yin's mother died, Song Yin had fetal pressure. Jing He was born prematurely, and she suffered heavy bleeding and was comatose for a day. One night, Song Li arrived in China, but instead of going to see his daughter and grandson whose life or death was uncertain in the hospital, he went to find Song Lanying. When he went to the hospital, it had been more than 20 hours since his plane landed. If he cared about his daughter's life and death, how could he ignore his daughter who was giving birth? Moreover, he was not involved in the case of Song Yin's mother from the beginning to the end. He could only go to find Song Lanying. Wan and Rong Li went to the hotel where Song Lanying stayed. After so many years, it is difficult to find hotel information, and the system will not save it for so long. Fortunately, Song Lanying has always been pampered and has no shortage of money, and she lives in an international hotel. Has never closed down in so many years. This hotel also always saves guests' check-in information and has a special file for storage. After Song Li's plane landed, he checked in at the hotel within 2 hours. After so many years, the surveillance camera must have been unable to find it, but the check-in information from that year could be found. And Song Yin hadn't even given birth yet, so he hurriedly took Song Lanying back to China. The cold information and data showed that this matter was unusual. They were looking for people who worked in the hotel at that time to provide photos and information of Song Lanying and Song Li to see if anyone had any impressions. A room service girl 8 years ago is now a hotel room service manager. The manager accidentally revealed that Song Lanying and Song Li had a quarrel in the hotel. She was deeply impressed by this incident. At that time, there were only a few presidential guest rooms on the top floor. It is rare for guests to quarrel in the corridor and almost come to blows, so a few years later, the impression is still very deep. It was confirmed through photos that it was indeed Song Lanying and Song Li, but the girl did not know what they were arguing about. At that time there was no one on the top floor. They saw it from the surveillance camera and reported it to the manager, hoping that the manager would handle it. When the manager came, they asked Song Lanying if she wanted to call the police. Later they found out that it was a quarrel between father and daughter, which caused a big oolong incident. This matter happened in the hotel. Everyone who worked at that time had an impression. It seems that Song Li knew that Song Lanying had killed her lover and was determined to protect her. Wan made the final decision. This was in line with Song Lanying's style. She would not hide it and deliberately lure Song Li back to the country. In the case of Song Yin's mother, an hour before the accident, Song Li booked a flight and rushed back. He should know what Song Lanying did. Song Lanying forced Song Li to choose between her or his lover and illegitimate daughter. Although it is a guess, it is still close to 10. This is Song Lanying's style. How cruel! Song Lanying was still very young back then, and she was really ruthless, as expected of a person raised by you in the extreme. Wan. There's no need to be so yin and yang. It makes us extreme people seem to be cruel and ruthless. After the matter was settled, Wan asked Chen Liangdong to summon the forensic doctor and ask for the accurate autopsy report of Song Yin's mother. In fact, after so many years, there was no evidence at all. If forensic Dr. Zhang really wanted to deny it, they had no evidence at all, but the National Security Bureau, there are many ways to get forensic Dr. Zhang to speak, and the court will prove the guilt beyond doubt, but they are different. This kind of old case requires some unusual means. Rong Li went running with Wan for a day. Wan invited him to eat fried noodles at a roadside stall. The roadside stall pulled up a windshield to block the cold wind. Business was very cold and not as hot as in summer. This was a late-night snack shop that Wan and his family often visit. When 2 bowls of fried noodles were served, Wan felt that they were not enough and asked for 2 large glasses of beer. Rong Li was shocked by her barbaric style and followed the Romans. Wan said, "You are so active in this case. You came with me for such a long time. Ji Xian didn't do this for a long time, so why are you so willing to do it?" Rong Li poured 2 spoonfuls of oily chili seeds and mixed them into the fried rice noodles. After 1 sip, he was so spicy that he broke out in sweat. "I guess. If Song Li didn't leave any information for Song Yin, wouldn't you have lost everything?" Wan asked curiously, looking at the survey. Song Li prefers Song Lanying. It is more likely that he really has something to give to Song Lanying. Rong Li lowered his head to eat fried rice noodles and remained silent. Wanming pretended to be lying. Rong Li didn't fall for it, but he didn't say a word either. "Why don't you guess? I value the information Song Li gave to Song Yin more. Or do you have other plans?" If you don't have other plans, what else do you want? Chinwan asked. Except that Song Li had the handle on them, she really couldn't guess what Rong Li was trying to do. Rong Li drank half a bottle of cold beer and said, "Guess slowly. You reckless man, this is inappropriate for you. How many days have we been investigating the case together and you can't even tell the truth?" Chinwan thought to himself, this is really a plastic friendship. You are really willing to go through fire and water for Ji Sun. You don't really have a crush on him, do you? Rong Li narrowed his eyes, put his hand on his chin and asked Chinwan, where does this rumor come from? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 709. Chapter 709. Little White Flower is also very aggrieved. Zhang Junlin has been a little annoyed recently. This was not the first time that he was worried about Ji Sun. This was the most serious time. When Ji Sun imprisoned him and lost his freedom, he had never been so upset. The weight of this person in his heart was greater than he expected. Heavy. The quarrel this time was also worse than ever before. He didn't want to quarrel with Ji Sun, but he couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. He told Ji Sun again and again that he didn't mind what happened. Why didn't he want to be honest and open? In the past few years, he has strengthened his mind and done everything he should and shouldn't do. In the eyes of Chinwan's closest confidants, he was a doting King Zhou who lit a beacon for Daji. King Yu, who has a beautiful smile, gave everything he could and could not give. Ji Sun didn't need to speak. He took the initiative to hand over everything. Why was it still impossible to win Ji Sun's trust? Zhang Junlin has never been so frustrated. What else can he do so that Ji Sun can believe him? Ji Sun's low self-esteem and sensitivity are the most deadly bombs in this relationship. Their identities are different from ordinary lovers. They are not as simple as quarreling at the head of the bed and having at the end of the bed. Their relationship is a bellwether for many within the Jideo and Black Hawk. If Ji Sun can't trust him, how can he trust Ji Sun? This is a trigger. Due to emotional distrust, he will unconsciously tie up his career. He feels that the more chips he has, the more stable the relationship will be. This is a wrong perception in itself. There is no gap allowed between him and Ji Sun. He had sworn that he could handle it well and do it. As long as he gave Ji Sun enough sense of security, Ji Sun would have full trust, but reality slapped him. There were only two roads before him. Separate. Let Ji Sun believe in him wholeheartedly. The previous one was like hell, whether it was him or Ji Sun. Item 2, it's hard to reach the sky. How did he get into this situation? What should he do to satisfy Ji Sun? He was really at his wit's end. Zhang Qiang and others have not dared to breathe in front of Zhang Junlin recently. Zhang Junlin has not restrained his emotions, so he has been living outside and has not returned home. He stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window of the apartment and watched the fireworks in the city. Standing here, you can see the global building, which is so close yet so far away. He smoked a cigarette decadently, and 8 or 9 beer bottles were scattered on the carpet. He had not been addicted to cigarettes or alcohol for a long time. Nick secretly inquired about Zhang Junlin, but Zhang Qiang did not dare to reveal a word. As a guard, if he really dared to reveal the true situation of Zhang Junlin, he would not have been with Zhang Junlin for so many years. But the master has drunk too much recently. Zhang Qiang said, "Master, you have been suffering from stomach problems for just 2 years. Don't drink too much on an empty stomach. If you really want to drink, just rest your stomach first." Zhang Junlin was silent, and Zhang Qiang did not dare to say another word. What a disaster. Ji Sun's condition is not much better than that of Zhang Junlin. He is also more depressed than anyone else, but he can't show it at all. Recently, he has appeared frequently in the Wang family. If he shows it even a little bit, the Wang family will ask. Mr. Wang said, "The Chinese New Year is coming soon. Let's bring Zhang Junlin to our house for a meal on the 28th. Ji Huan had a headache and declined. I have to go on a business trip on February 5th, and I'm afraid I won't be able to come back on New Year's Eve. Haiying is so busy at the end of the year and has to go on a business trip on New Year's Eve. Can't the people under me go?" Mrs. Wang felt distressed. This was the first year of her marriage and she hoped that Ji Sun could spend the new year at home. Ji Sun could not be Zhang Junlin's boss and did not dare to accept this dinner. "I haven't arranged it yet." Wang Lao and others all hope that he can celebrate the new year at home on New Year's Eve, and then find time to have a meal and get together with the Zhang family. Anyway, Ji Sun and Zhang Junlin are a sure thing. How could Mr. Wang have thought that he had assassinated everyone 4 times? The people who are not separated are having a cold war recently, and no one has contacted anyone. Ji Huan didn't dare to show it to the Wang family, but he didn't hide it at all in front of Lu Ziwen. He felt aggrieved. "I also want to believe him, but, third master, how can I trust someone wholeheartedly?" Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 710. Chapter 710. You are so interesting. Zhang Junlin was irritable, and Ji Huan was no better. Moreover, the Chinese New Year was approaching, and the Wang family wanted him and Zhang Junlin to have a meal there, but they couldn't refuse. Ji Huan kept doing it and actually went on a business trip. Lu Ziwen. This is a typical escape mentality. It was New Year's Eve in 4 days. As soon as his plane landed in Haikan, he posted a message on Moments and put on a full show, planning to spend the new year alone in Haikan. Rongli and Lu Ziwen were speechless and let him do whatever he wanted. Lu Ziwen was too lazy to care. This matter is quite interesting to Lu Ziwen and Rong Li. After all, historical experience shows that Ji Sun and Zhang Junlin generally do not quarrel. It is Ji Sun who annoys Zhang Junlin. When they dance in a minefield, there will always be thunder. So when Zhang Junlin gets angry, Ji Sun will go to him to ask for forgiveness, and Beiwa and Green Tea will use all their methods to escape. This is the first time to escape. It's simply going from one extreme to the other. He ran away, but Zhang Junlin couldn't be rude. According to the custom in City A, engaged men and women would send a gift to each other's home during the holidays. This is etiquette. So Zhang Junlin prepared a gift for both the Wang family and the Sheng family. It was Old Man Zhang and Old Mrs. Zhang who came to visit. They were very polite. Originally, they had to send a gift to the Wang family every year. This time, it was doubled in thickness. The Wang family also knew what it meant, so the return gift was doubled in size as in previous years. Lu Ziwen also got busy at the end of the year. Black Eagle was extremely busy at the end of the year. Ji Sun was not in City A, so he took care of many things. He even complained a few words when he called Gu Ci. Gu Ci herself was so busy that she had no time to pay attention to him. Gu Ziu is also busy, following Chen Liangdong to various year-end tea parties, symposiums, and various summary meetings. There are still many things to summarize within Qiuan, and he will also be busy until the day before New Year's Eve. Qin Wan was the most leisurely. After Rong Li accompanied him to investigate the affairs of Song Laining and Song Li, she took some time to straighten things out. She first told Chen Lianzhu and Chen Liangdong, and then specifically talked to Song Yin. Song Yin was shocked. Impossible. You mean, my mother was murdered? Song Laining killed her? This is impossible. Wasn't that an accident? How could it be murder? She was rarely emotional, tears rolled down her face, her hands were clenched into fists by her side, and her whole body was shaking. I don't need to lie to you. This is all the file information and the forensic report of the year. Your mother took cardiotonic drugs before going on stage and exercised strenuously, which caused a short-term myocardial infarction. After her death, the drugs were it has not been metabolized in the body, and the autopsy report was false. This was not an accident, but a deliberate murder. Song Lanying was also at the scene. Song Lee knew about this from beginning to end, and it was Song Lee who was helping Song Lanying deal with the aftermath. You are lying to me, Song Yin burst into tears. I have never thought about revenge. I have never instigated Jing He to seek revenge. Please, don't lie to me. Song Yin looked a little pitiful, as if her long-standing faith had been shattered. The deep father-daughter relationship between her and Song Lee seemed like a joke. Qin Wan felt soft-hearted seeing her like this, but he couldn't lie. Look at the surveillance. The evidence cannot lie, and these evidences cannot be faked. Song Yin, please forgive me. Song Lee may love you, but this kind of love is really not much. Song Yin fell on the sofa in despair, her face pale. Qin Wan asked, Sister Song Yin, I investigated this matter because I had doubts in my heart and had to find out. Therefore, I am sorry to break the love between father and daughter that you have always believed in. There is something that I also want to discuss with you, please explain. That day I went to school to look for Jing He, and I saw Rong Li also looking for Jing He, and I also saw you arguing with him. I guess that Song Li left something for you, and Rong Li came to ask for it, you know. Rong Li killed Song Lanying because he was afraid that he would kill you and silence him. In order to protect Jing he sent him to recognize his ancestor. I hope we can protect Jing He, but he is not worth it. What does Rong Li want? Just give it to him, he won't kill innocent people indiscriminately, and nothing will happen to you or Jing He. I can guarantee that this was Zhang Junlin's instruction. She was very interested in what Song Li had, but Zhang Junlin wanted Song Yin to return Black Eagle, so no matter how curious she was, she would not ask further questions. Song Yin came back to her senses and looked at Qin Wan. Do you know Rong Li? Dead enemies, Qin Wan said calmly. I am a person trained by the Yuda. Your father and I were once colleagues. We, the Black Eagles and the Yakuza, have some sworn enemies, so you don't have to doubt that I am here. I didn't lie to you for the sake of my enemies, I did it for Jing He's safety, and I didn't want you to have any more troubles. Qin Wan has a kind face, and it is easy to win people's trust when he is gentle. When Song Yin was struck to the point of being unstable, she did not believe her words. She had also heard Song Li talk about the complicated relationship between Black Eagle and the Jaida. It is only natural that Qin Wan wants to protect Jing He. I really didn't expect that Dad would, he would lie to me. When Qin Wan walked out of Song Yin's residence, Rong Li was waiting for her outside the community. Qin Wan held a USB flash drive and threw it to Rong Li after getting in the car. This is what Song Li exposed to her. Rong Li turned the USB disk playfully, and Qin Wan thought to himself, don't worry, I didn't copy it. Don't be a villain. Are you telling the truth? Rong Li asked confusedly. Qin Wan raised his eyebrows and said, you piece of shit, what should I copy it for? Rong Li laughed when the answer was not what he asked. Okay, just think that I owe you a favor. No, forget the favor, the life-saving grace is over. Rong Li laughed, you are so interesting. Qin Wan's face darkened, and she felt that these words seemed to be sarcastic to her. End of this chapter.